Hi, my name is Claire Shipley, and this is my flipped classroom lesson, and I decided to do it for my second grade class, reviewing character traits. Now, the Common Core State Standard that aligns to this lesson is ELA Literacy RL 2.7, which says use information gained from the illustrations and words in a print or digital text to demonstrate understanding of its characters, setting, or plot. So we're focusing on the characters today. Okay, so once I introduce my students to what we're doing today, I'll then review with them what character traits are. So we'll review that there's two different kinds of character traits. There are physical character traits, which you see on the left here, and that has to do with what the character looks like. So for example, this little girl has brown hair, dark eyes, a striped shirt. So physical traits are what we see. Now, the other side of character traits are the personality traits. So those traits are inside of the person. We can't see these things. Those are things that we learn based on what the character says, does, thinks, and feels. So based on this picture of her, we can't really tell a lot based on her personality, but we could probably tell that she's a happy girl because we can see that she's smiling. Okay, then I would put my students to the challenge into identifying character traits for myself, Miss Shipley. So they would come up to the board and they would list a few physical character traits of Miss Shipley. So they could either use this photo or they could even use, whatever I'm wearing that day to describe how I look that day. And then with my personality, I'd also give them an opportunity to take note of a few personality character traits of myself. Okay, and then lastly in our warm-up, we're going to discuss how to identify character traits in a story. So I have the directions to the left. It says, step 1, they're going to listen as Miss Shipley reads the passage. So it's a really short passage that I'll read for the kiddos. And then after I read the passage, we are going to highlight words and phrases together on the smartboard in this text that help us describe Lou. So what kind of person is Lou? So we're going to underline clues in the text that help us figure that out. And then we'll answer the two questions together that both talk about character traits. So circle the word that best describes Lou, proud, silly, or scared. And then we'll use what we underlined in the text to tell how we know that he is one of those character traits. So that concludes the warm-up. Now it's their turn, and this is where the lesson turns more into a flipped classroom model. So I'm going to direct the students to get out their Chromebooks, and they're going to log into Edpuzzle, which is a website that we use really frequently in my classroom. They will go to their assignment tab once they're in Edpuzzle, and they'll find the assignment that says Lily's Purple Plastic Purse, and then they will complete this assignment independently with their headphones in. So now we can go ahead and navigate over to Edpuzzle. So this is the Edpuzzle that I created for my students for this flipped classroom model. So I attached a YouTube video of a read aloud of Lily's Purple Plastic Purse. And then I myself embedded multiple questions within the video, all talking about and asking questions referring to character traits. So here are some of the questions on the side. So it says, what did Lily love to wear? What are some physical character traits of Mr. Slinger on that page specifically? What word describes Lily on this page? So they'll have to figure out what word the author used to describe Lily on that page. What are some physical character traits of Lily on this page? So they'll have to take a look at Lily and what she's wearing. And then so on and so forth. So there's multiple different kinds of questions referring back to character traits, and you'll notice how some of them are multiple choice questions, and then some of them are also open-ended questions. Now the open-ended questions, the kids have two options. They can either type their answer into a text box, which some of my students feel comfortable with, but I would say the majority of my students feel most comfortable in using the audio function to tell their answer. So they're able to do that too for those open-ended questions. Now, once the students are done this Edpuzzle, and even when they are completing it, when they're in the process, on my end as a teacher, I'm able to monitor their progress from my computer to see how they're doing. And then once they've completed the lesson, I'm able to tell how well they did in answering these questions. Okay, now, after they're done the flipped classroom lesson using Edpuzzle, we will have an exit ticket. So this is more of a formative assessment for me to figure out how well they're able to distinguish between physical and personality character traits and how to identify them in a text. So I created this exit ticket for my kiddos. It says, read the short story, highlight the character's physical character traits in yellow, and then highlight the character's personality character traits in pink. So they'll read this short story, Grady the Leprechaun, and they will do as directed. Once done, they'll turn it in, and then I will be able to use this as a formative assessment to assess their understanding of character traits.